what are you driven by, logic or emotion? I feel like logical people are more able to empathize with the other side than the other way around.
If two people both agree on an idea or they think something is good, there is intimacy there. It's just mental intimacy.
Love bombing. It doesn't work on me. Like you have to appeal to my intellect.
But I think for emotions, people feel like they should just be able to have emotional diarrhea. And then you just and then you're supposed to accept it.
I believe both logic and emotion, they play an essential role in decision making.
I think emotional resilience for me is like a measure of someone's true character.
So, like when the world is burning, we can still think. Welcome to the Feminine Outliers podcast, where we about life and self discovery beyond borders. We're your hosts, Zelda Wasau,
And Cholwe Mandona.
and we're excited to have you here with us. So, welcome to, I don't know, this is probably episode three, two, three of this year.
Of this year, yeah.
Um, Welcome back. I'm hoping you guys are excited to have another episode. I like this episode, as you can see by the title. What are you driven by, logic or emotion? Is
Mm,
going to be the topic of the day. It's something that me and Cholwe are both, I think we're very passionate about it because
very passionate.
we have a
Very
lot to
passionate.
say about it. And I will just say it's going to be interesting. And we're also going to dabble into our personalities because that kind of blends in to this whole entire thing. So we'll see how that goes. But the reason why this came up is obviously, I mean, this is something that we deal with every single day of our lives, whether you realize it or not. And I think we are just more aware of it because we're both more driven by logic. So obviously, when you're logical, you tend to think through some of these things a little bit more. So
Yeah.
it tends to be a reality a lot more
Mhm.
than for some other people. So it's interesting because this has been, I mean, for me, it's one of my biggest pet peeves when people are just purely going off of emotion. And then
Mm.
then in my head, I'm logically there like, no, like, why are
Yeah.
you doing that? But then you come to realize there's a lot more that goes into it. And it's also very much tied into our personalities, which is very
Yeah.
interesting. And it's very hard for me as a logical person to sometimes empathize with people who are emotional. And it might
Yeah.
seem like it might seem like I don't care. It's not that I don't care. It's just that in my head I'm just like, what are you doing? That's what's happening in my
Yeah.
head. So that's basically, what we're going to be discussing today. And hopefully it's definitely going to be a fun topic for sure. What are your initial thoughts about logic versus emotion?
Yeah. When you said about the pet peeve, it's a pet peeve when it comes to engaging with people who are driven by emotion. Hey, I that's very real. It's real. And one thing for me that I think about or that I was intrigued was like you were saying, like, are you being rude or stoic or just not inconsiderate? But then it's just something that happens naturally because I don't know, it's like it's not making sense. When it's not making sense for me, then there's a frustration that comes about. And yeah, and so that's something I just was like, no, this is not like I'm being rude or anything. That's just how I process things.
Hmm.
And there's also a pacing of processing things. That's another thing where there's something about if someone is gonna sit there and tell you a long story or put in every little detail and I'm just like, there's a part of me that's like, what's the end of this story? Like, and it's not like it's like I think the person who's talking is like experiencing it as they talk, and they want you to feel the emotion. And logically, I'm like, okay, and then, so what? I guess, and I don't know how you can say that in a polite way. Um, so like I find myself sometimes having, I end up I don't know, getting distracted, or like there's a sense of like, okay, I need to maybe do something else. But because I actually know this information, I'm actually more intentional now and trying to understand, to say, oh, okay, this is the part where this emotional being, or somebody who's rather driven by emotion, is like, I don't know, is experiencing their moment. And as a person who's driven by logic, I can just like patiently wait and just experience the emotion. But it's not my natural leaning. So as you said, it's not our natural leaning. So there's a resistance. There's just a feeling of uncomfortability that you experience, at least initially. It's that's the that's the thing.
I mean, for sure. I mean, I think you being aware of it, first of all, is like the first step. And I don't know,
Yeah.
this might be biased, but I feel like logical people are more able to emphasize with the other side than the other way around. Like, I feel like because we're
Mm,
logical and we rationalize things in general,
hmm.
at some point you realize, wait, oh, okay, so the other person is emotional. Okay. Well, I guess that it's just as valid as my logic, even though, there's a part of you that's saying, no, 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 it's not valid. But but the logical part in you comes out and it's like, it's just as valid as my emotions. So I should try and be a little bit more understanding. Whereas I find like emotional people will just be like, oh my goodness, you're so, mean, or you're so uncaring,
Mm,
or you're so like, you're not you're not empathetic, you're not this, because the emotions take over, and I feel like it's harder for them to get to the point where they realize, actually, no, 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 this person is, it doesn't mean they don't care, they're just more logical, so it doesn't come out the same way as you. So I feel like we're more likely to understand the other side than vice versa.
yeah, I know. I know. Like we are the ones who have to be accommodating.
Yes.
And also, there's this thing of where the emotional side has been, I would say, not exploited or like romanticized as well. Like they're romantic movies, right? Which speak to the hearts, and there's just the marketing, whatever, the commercial side of life speaks to the emotional side.
Mm-hmm.
So this idea of even like romance is based on like the person has to maybe say, I love you and you love them. But a logical person, if two people both agree on an idea or they think something is good, there is intimacy there. It's just mental intimacy. It's not the kind that like it's the expression. Because yes, we don't necessarily be like, I don't know how you can express I love you logically, but people forget that like logical people still connect and still have intimacy. It's just different, and that's the thing. And so it's, yeah, I wonder if we're just not the majority in this case. I wonder, I don't know how many how many people are logically driven versus emotionally
Emotional.
driven. I would love
Well, that's a
to
good
know.
question. I don't know. That's a good question, because I don't know. It seems,
Yeah.
I mean, it seems lopsided, but I don't have the data. Maybe I don't know if it's because the logical people are not like out there expressing themselves, so people don't know that they're
you know
logical.
they're out there getting the hit from the emotional people and just having to be like, oh gosh, not again, not again.
But it's so funny though, like, because when you're talking about like, I never even thought about that. That like in like in media and like romantic novels or anything, like they really gear towards the emotional side. And then I think about it and
Mhm.
I'm thinking about what I've watched. And I'm like, that's so true. Because half the times in my head,
Yeah,
I'm just like, why would you do that? Or why did you not just say what you were feeling? Why did you do that? In my head, I'm just like,
yeah,
this could have been so much easier. Then I realized, no, they're going running off the emotions, and emotions were high. So they weren't thinking. And that's why that happened. And I'm just like, okay. And then
yeah,
sometimes, and this is one of my pet peeves sometimes when watching movies or anything, because I'm just like, why do you do that? The same goes for
yeah,
horror movies. I'm just like, why did you go into the room where you heard the sound? Why did you not turn the other direction?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
why did you?
yeah.
It's my head because my logical brain is like, you get out yourself out of danger, do the thing that makes the most sense. And then you look at these things and you're just like, why do they do things like that? Like, there's certain times
Why?
when I watch things and it makes me so mad. I'm like, I just want someone who's logical to make a logical movie. But I think people will find
Yeah,
it boring because they they would just be making the right, in my opinion, they'll just be making like the right
yeah.
decisions, or it just be like there'll be no guesswork. It'll just be like, okay, this is what it is.
Mm,
This is how it is, and stuff like that. I think when you have the emotional part, it gives like some
mhm.
pizzazz and all this to everything. But like when it's
Yeah,
just like when you just go with the logic, it's just gonna be too straight to
mm,
the point that like maybe it might not be as
like,
interesting. But I just want one like that. I want one where I'm not left like, why did they do that? Why
why did
why
they
did you not do
why
that?
do you think Wakanda, like, I'm thinking of, like, a movie where I don't think Wakanda had a did Wakanda have a, like a couple, like, coming together? Was they, like? Because now sometimes,
Ish
in these
ish.
movies, they don't
Because like the Black Panther and
was it
Lupita, I don't
Lu
remember what her character
Lupita, right?
was.
Oh,
But
but I do
I don't think it was as much. Okay, to be honest, when I think about Black Panther, I can't really think about. I haven't really thought about like, the logic versus emotional thing.
mm,
But I would probably say they're pretty good at logic. Because I would
yeah.
say that, but I actually haven't thought deeply about that one.
Yeah, I know because I remember the girl who was doing the computer work and everything. Like, people loved her. Like, I loved her as well. Like, she was just like a vibe. And then, like, the women warriors were super cool. Like because I'm thinking, like, the logical movies maybe are the ones that are like, I don't know, action oriented, where, like, let's say they have to, like, save someone who has been kidnapped, because there's a sense of, like, what's the strategy here, how do we get to this person, who do we, like, negotiate with, so, like, but even those, the movies are the movie industry is very smart. There's usually a line of romance somewhere, like, the guy just has a girlfriend, like, for whatever reason, and I guess that kind of makes it a little bit better and more exciting. And then they separate, and then somehow they come together, and they're like, lovebirds for the rest of life. So, like,
I honestly have not thought about it in that way. Like, I really cannot categorize action movies as yet because
mm,
I think it's hard. I think it just depends because you'll always. I'm sure there's going to be an emotional character in that movie who is like, I need to go and rescue my people or something like that, and it's not thinking. And then there's going to be the one who's thinking like, wait, hold your horses. We need a plan before you just go and rescue your people. So I don't think we can really easily categorize action movies like that because I think it's usually a combination of both.
yeah,
In all
yeah,
honesty,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's,
What about Mao Mao anime? The
but that also differs. So I think Mao Mao in um for people who are wondering what the hell is Mao Mao. Mao Mao is a character in the Apothecary Diaries, which is an anime
Yes,
that I finally got Cholwe to watch. Mao Mao is
yes,
very
I did.
logical.
It's
She
very
is very
logical.
logical. I think that's why we like her because she's very logical.
She is
Like uses her
Mama shout out. Yeah.
he always uses her brain and stuff like that. So she's an example like that. But also, but in anime, there's a lot of animes where people are like, it's emotions driven by emotions. Like a lot of the romance animes
Mm,
are like that, like emotional driven. That's why a lot of romantic anything, a lot of times it's just driven by emotion. Because I think if it was logical, people would
mm.
be so boring. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because we would be trying to get stuff together and like
No, because
minimizing the number of mistakes we make.
it's not even, yeah, because just think about it. How I told you how that love bombing, or it doesn't work on me. Because I will look at you like, wait, you'll take me to the moon, really? How will you take me to the moon?
Like, yeah, like you're kind of like you think it comes out like literally, like a literal sense, right? Um,
Like you have to appeal to my intellect, because my intellect is going, you, like that is not romantic. Someone else might find it romantic. I'll be like, no. Like, how are you
yeah,
going to take me to the moon?
it doesn't land, right?
It
It just
does not
repels,
land.
like it doesn't land. It's just like right,
And I feel like it's
right.
hard when you're a woman and you're logical and you're dating, because half the time I'm looking at these guys and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, like please make it please make it make sense. Like which one is this one? Like what is going on?
And it's like, or like when you say like, oh, we can do this, we can meet there, we can do that, and I'm just like, well, okay, if you I could actually put it in action, will it actually work? So like,
Yeah.
I think it's hard, and I think like, because when you see in a lot of these movies, the romance movies, there's a lot of times where the men say all this romantic stuff and the girl is so like blown away, and in my head I'm just like, but it's
Mm.
not, it's not landing. What are they really going to do? That are they going to be able to do that? Why are you just them coming up with this superfluous stuff is like tickling your fancy? it,
Yeah,
it, it just
yeah.
it doesn't, it's hard because I just, for me, you have to appeal to my intellect, and if it doesn't land, it,
It's like it's gone
it's
nowhere.
going
It's it's gone nowhere. It's just like you're just staring at it like, okay, uh-huh, uh-huh. And
and maybe that's a
like no
part,
interaction has happened.
right? I think this is a part, maybe if I was a little bit more emotional, it would work, it would help, but like in my head I'm just like, huh, make it
Like
make sense.
what is the I guess the thing and that's the thing is yes, because I think the way I like to say it is that the information or the interaction gets through the head, then goes to the heart.
Hmm.
Because there are times where I will have an experience with someone or an interaction with someone, and I'll be like, okay, and then I'll be heading home or be reflecting, and I'll be like, that person is really cool. Like I really like that person. I want to have another conversation with them, or like I don't mind having a conversation with them, but being put on the spot that we should create this sort of emotional experience and be like, wow, wow, this is amazing. Like, there's something there about, I don't know whether it's like we're trying to save our energy and like only want valuable interactions as much as possible, like something functional about it.
Hmm.
That, because the other thing to me is that if you're not talking something that also makes sense, why am I talking and why are you talking? So I'm so
Yeah, yeah, like that's the thing, and that happens to me a lot in the hospital,
yeah, yeah,
because when people start to talk about things that I'm not going to act on, it has nothing to do with me, I don't care about it. Why am I listening to? Why are you telling me about it? Why are
yeah,
you wasting my time? Why am I listening to
yeah,
it? And it's just,
yeah,
it annoys me because I'm just like, no, stick the
yeah.
script or just answer what I'm asking you. Stop taking the story back to, it started 20 years ago.
Oh wow,
And
yeah,
then they start the thing. I'm like, you can tell me the story. Like, yes, my symptoms started 20 years ago, but you don't have to say it in a story form. You can be like,
right,
nothing
yeah,
to the
yeah,
point, right? Or
yeah,
like this past week, I had a patient's son who was so like irate. He was mad that
mm,
the patient's bed was beeping overnight.
mm,
And so it prevented the patient from sleeping, and he was so mad. So I told him, there's nothing I can do about it. Talk to the nursing leaders; they'll be the ones to handle it. But I was trying to
Mm.
get to like this patient was sick. I needed to like talk to him about his result. I mean, getting a CAT scan and things like that. But like the son kept on trying to go back to it. And I had to tell him, I am trying to focus on his health right now. I can't
Mm.
do anything about what happened last night. And frankly speaking, I don't care because that has nothing to do with me. It was nighttime.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. And what does he think I'm going to do?
Mhm.
Like, does he
Yeah.
really think I have time as a doctor to be figuring out what happened with the bed at night? I don't care. As long as it doesn't affect the patient's medical health,
Yeah.
and I'm not pursuing it. But then he's
Yeah.
like, but it's affecting the patient's oxygenation. And I'm like, how does the patient not sleeping affect his oxygenation? I literally asked him that. And then he just looks at me. I think he started to realize that I was getting snappy. Like, stop complaining about
Yeah.
stuff that I'm not going to work on. Yes, people think that, oh, the doctor is going to handle everything. Do not complain to me about stuff that's nothing to do with me. I'm just like,
Mhm.
that pisses me off because wasting my time.
Mhm.
Like, I'm trying to focus on
Yeah.
what's important right now, and then you're focusing on how you're so mad about what happened last night before my shift even started. That was my first day. So
Mm.
even that patient was not on my list. And I'm just like, that's nothing to do with me. So stop. And I started to like just cut people off because I'm just like, no, no, no.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be there and be nice and then have them. I'm not doing anything about it. So complain to the right
Yeah.
person. And then it's like,
Yeah.
but then I realized, I think in cases like that, I need to try to explain to them, like, hey, I understand you're frustrated about something that happened last night, but I'm just going to cut you off of here and say, I'm not the person to complain to because I cannot do anything about that. You can talk to customer
Mhm.
experience and the nursing leaders. They'll be the ones to address it. That I have no control over. And then
Mhm.
move on. At least I try to explain to them so that they can understand. Because I've come to understand some people just assume the doctor can do everything or is in charge of everything.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
there is a small piece of truth to that in that if I complain and I'm be like, hey, my patient's what happened last night with my patient's bed? Like, why did this happen? There's a very high chance they'll listen to me to try to figure it
Mhm.
out. But I don't even know who to complain to. So why would I waste my time trying to figure out who to
Yeah.
complain to when I'm just trying to figure out, I'm just literally trying to use my brain cells to diagnose my patients and treat them medically. I mean, I'm just one person.
Yeah.
So like I was like cutting him off. And I was like, that's how and that's like interactions that happen in the hospital, like when people are talking about nonsense stuff. And my logical brain is like, why are you complaining about something that's silly? Like we have bigger fish to fry, bigger
Yeah.
issues
Yeah.
here. But it's like people just lose their sense of whatever small logic they have in the hospital and they just get so emotional because they're very much out of their element and out of control. And I
Mm.
get them in such raw emotions. And it very much annoys me because I'm like, in my head, I'm like, even if I am, like, have I been in moments where I feel totally out of control, totally out of my element? Yes. But do I act a fool? No.
Yeah. I think what you're speaking to there is language. And you brought up something where you said, maybe what I need to do is communicate and acknowledge the emotion that this person is experiencing, and then redirect it to say, this, I know you're experiencing this, but I cannot resolve this for you. Or if you want to do something about it and you want to like have a complaint, like go to customer services. And I guess there's a thing of like having, even emotions have, there's like emotional intelligence and etiquette, I guess. Like I like maybe that's what we're asking for, is we're asking for that because in the same way when it comes to like logic, like when you're writing an email, there's a reason why there are full stops and commas and question marks, because you can't just like keep rambling without pacing yourself and using the right punctuation to create the whatever, whether it's the image or the experience. But I think for emotions, people feel like they should just be able to like have emotional like diarrhea, and then you just like
Yeah.
and then you're supposed to like accept it because
Right.
they're just like, they're just like talking, or they're just like, I don't know, bursting out, and you're like, no, 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 the same way. Like, and I think that's the thing that you're saying about intel, like with logical people, is like we're not being given the respect to say, look, if you can articulate yourself, explain yourself, calm yourself down, and
Hmm.
then tell me what you want, then maybe I actually will help you.
Yeah.
You know? So, so we we need to like come together as the logical people. Like but it's all like it's just like if you think about it, it's always fine that the person who's sad, everyone needs to be sad around them, or the person who's happy needs to be happy. Everyone has to be happy around them. And then when you're not expressing like having reciprocity, it's like you why are you weird? Like why are you the weird one? And stuff like that. So yeah, we're not marketed well. So
No, clearly. I mean, it is such a pet peeve of mine because and for me, I'm just like, because like going back to this whole emotional dysregulation, I, I'm like, first of all, just because you're having a bad day does not mean I'm gonna have a bad day,
exactly.
and I'll enjoy my day. Now, I'm
Exactly.
not going
Yeah.
to be that rude person who maybe something bad has happened to you and me something good has happened to me and I'm there gloating about what good thing happened to me in front of you.
Right.
Absolutely not. That is rude. That is
Yeah.
inconsiderate. I'm not going to be like that. But I'm not going to be there crying with you if I don't have anything to cry about.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I think, and when they feel want you to like come down to the level because they're feeling sad, they want you to do that. I'm just like, I can't. Now I understand when you're feeling sad and everything, you kind of want someone to be there for you. And I get it, but I think at some point you're you have to just think a little bit and realize there's so many moving parts in this world, and someone is laughing, someone is crying, someone is being born, someone is dying. It
Mm-hmm.
is just the reality of this life. And so when that comes, when you think about that, that should probably help you realize, well, I cannot bring everyone down with me or cannot bring everyone up with me with my moods and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
so that's, you know, that's how I think about it. And that in itself can also be very antagonizing to some people because some people are like, like, because I think, again, this is back in the hospital. There's a patient's daughter who was mad at me, even though I
Mm-hmm.
explained everything perfectly and we did nothing wrong. But she's mad. And I
Mm-hmm.
was just like, oh, okay. No, no, no emotion. I was just like, because in my head, I'm just like, this lady
Yeah.
is just, you know how when you feel like someone is determined to misunderstand you. So I just stopped
Yeah.
caring. I'm just like, oh, okay, okay. And she's getting mad that I'm not getting mad, and I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
get mad about what?
Yeah.
I did nothing wrong. And then I've actually gone an extra mile to explain to you what's happening because I don't want you to be. I want you to understand that your anger is misplaced. Is this
Yeah.
and this is what's actually happening? So I actually explained to you because I feel like sometimes people just don't understand things, and so I try to just explain the background so you get it. And when people hit that point of no return or like they just you can't reason with them, me, I'm just like, okay. And then we move on because I'm not going to go to your level of anger or sad or something. But I think it's also a little bit easy for me because I'm also good at compartmentalizing things, which I have to
Yeah.
as a physician. But yeah, no, emotions. Like I just feel like trying to rein in your emotions, it's I know it's hard because I know how I feel. Like I told you I know how I felt when I did scuba diving the first time scuba diving, which
Oh
I
yes.
loved it, but
Yeah.
I was really like nervous. I've never been that nervous before, even though I love
Yeah.
like the ocean. I love swimming and things like that. But I did not go around trying to make everyone else nervous. I'm not trying to,
Right.
I'm nervous, so you have to be nervous. I'm not trying to, I just try to, calm myself down and stuff. And if I have questions about something, I ask as if that's affecting my
Mm-hmm.
nerves and I'll be like, ask about this and stuff like that. But I'm not trying to bring everyone else
Mm-hmm.
down with me that saying I'm nervous. It's
Yeah.
just, but I guess that's the logical part that kicks in and says, okay, you're nervous. It's fine. It's okay to be nervous.
Yeah.
But then now what do you do about it?
Right. Yeah. It's funny, but I usually when the way I handle when people are emotional, I ask them that, can you be curious before you like determine that, like, for example, in the story you're given, like this person is putting the blame on you, but can you be curious to say like, but why, how come, before you get straight to like, oh, this person is the reason why I'm feeling this way and I don't like them. And
Yeah.
that is what I don't like. So usually
Hmm.
when I'm dealing with someone who was angry with me or upset, I'm like, can you just be curious, like let's go through moment to moment, from moment to moment. But people want to hold on, and I guess that's pride or ego, but people want to hold on to be like, I am upset, I am upset. But it's like, okay, let's put in some details, let's put in, some information, and then you come to realize, oh, maybe the situation is not actually about you. It's like people don't want to think through the situation, they want to
Hmm.
just have the emotion in, like, overcome them, I guess. Like there's almost this thing, like it, I guess the thing is that when you're experiencing that emotion, it feels like it's the only thing that's exists in your world.
Hmm.
uh, and now you want, I don't know, like again, for me, it's the thing that you want another person to either experience it, you want to like share it, or you want to like give other people the responsibility to like deal with it. And then their day is bad, and then all of a sudden it's like the whole world is like, it's bad. And yeah, so like to me, like that, I see that as a lack of responsibility, like personal responsibility. But again, as you said, when people are experiencing the emotion, there doesn't seem to be any logic, literally.
It's like hard to reason with them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. It's
It's
hard.
but it's interesting because I feel like as a logical person, when you're experiencing emotion, someone can still reason with you.
Mm, mm-hmm. That's
I feel
true.
like some because there's a part of you that is like gets back into there's that logical part in your brain that's like, okay, I know you're angry, but why is this? Because for
Yeah,
example, if someone cuts me off when driving, so the instinct is to be like mad and stuff like that. But then part of me is like, wait, but what if they're driving recklessly because they're rushing to the hospital? It's a
yeah,
possibility. You don't really know the
yeah,
full story as to why someone is doing what they're doing, right? And so
yeah.
that kind of stops me in my tracks and be like, okay, your mind goes to the automatic most negative, but there's
Mm-hmm.
so much in between that could be the case. And then I'm like,
No,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
it's like I logic myself out of the emotion, not logic myself.
Yeah,
I
like
like
you,
I talk myself out of the
you talk
emotion.
yourself out of it. But the thing is that even if there's no reason, right? There's also things called life. It's just life as well.
Hmm.
And I always like refer to the Bible verse that says like, there's nothing under the sun that has like that is ever new, you know. Like history is repeating itself. So like you name it, failure, death, and all of that. So I think I even extended to that point of like, if like things really are bad, they are just bad. But obviously, we all know that life is in seasons. So it could be just this season where it's just like we're in the trenches, we're in the valley. So there's like let's not be surprised. Let's just not like I think to me that's just like what also helps me realize like, and I'm sure as well, like even when you're dealing with patients, you know what is a serious case, and you
Hmm.
know like, okay, this is code red, like here we're like, this is between life and death. And then you know what's a, I don't know, it's a code blue or like whatever, like you know what is a serious problem. And I think I always wonder like people who are emotional, if they just like feeling that way, because at some point you kind of have to be like, this doesn't feel good and maybe I should plan and next time prepare that I don't feel this way. So like it's just, so to me it's just like, no, life is just life in, I also it's just life in.
That's
um
that's very
so
true. Actually, that is a fact that sometimes because even if someone purposefully does something wrong to you, again, you can choose your emotion. You can choose how you react. Is
exactly.
it always worth it to react to it? Might not be. You know,
Yeah,
just it's like pick your
exactly.
poison, choose your
You're
battles.
right. Yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, we can all say like there's somebody who has betrayed us, there's somebody who has not liked us, there's someone who has blamed us. Like, think about all the emotions that people have experienced in this
Hmm.
world and will experience. It's just like, yeah, you have to decide when that happens, how you're going to actually react to that. And you can, I know you can't necessarily prepare. It's kind of odd to think of that, but yeah. So, so then it's like, and that's why it's so important. Like, even like when people are going through stuff, that's why like they're always like support groups. There's always a support group for something because we all know it's hard to deal with it. But
Hmm.
again, it's not necessarily surprising. It's just that the experience of it is what is painful or could be painful or it's just a lot or intense. So, yeah. Um, the thing that I was going to say, you talked about, I think we talked about like dating or romance and stuff. It has made me wonder if dating apps are geared towards logical people, like maybe even the way they're set up. Um, because I know that okay, yes, you're supposed to engage and potentially like meet someone, but then how do logical people meet each other?
I just think maybe it ends up being how you present yourself.
Yeah,
Um, you have to deal with the fluff, but like
yeah,
I think it ends up just being how you present yourself because it's it's a dating up for everyone. So you end up just meeting everyone and anyone, and but hopefully the person you really engage with based on your profile is someone who is also can understand. But at the same time, even though you're a logical person, doesn't mean you have to be with someone logical. Because
that's
I
true.
believe both logic and emotion, they play an essential role in decision making.
Yeah.
And there needs to be a balance of both. I think it's harmful if you're too much on one side
Mm,
without considering the other.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so you kind of need a both element of both. And it might also just help you it might help just it might help you grow when you're with someone who's a different, like if you're logical, if someone who's more emotionally driven. However, it's very important that you're both growth oriented. You both realize that it's going to be a bit challenging. You're going to have to really sit down and understand where the other person is coming from, because
Mm,
it does take a little bit
mm,
extra step to think about it, because you're going to be like, why is he not reacting to my emotions, why are you not responding to me?
mm,
And then, but then you also, then the other person is like, why do they want me to react to their emotions or
mm,
respond? It's a balancing act, and you have to kind of learn. So obviously, it's very important to have both of them. Like, we
yeah.
will not deny that at
That is
all.
very true. I mean, the one thing I would say is that as yes, to me, it's again, it's having that intelligence, and having the language of curiosity. Because
Hmm.
if someone is logical and someone's like, I don't know, is upset, it's asking the question like, "Oh, you seem upset. Is that correct? Is that accurate? Like like what's going on?" And even an emotional person asking a logical person like, oh how do you mean, like explain to me, like so almost like there has to be, as you said, the growth has to be that the individuals are willing to tap into the other person's world and ask curious questions to sort of get a sense of what they're experiencing, because what happens is like like for a logical person it's very tempting to say like, that's ridiculous. That's silly. That doesn't make any sense. Which grown adult would be doing that? Like you kind of the mind
Hmm.
can go places, and it's just like, why is this happening? Um, but to the other person, it's a very real experience. Like, and I think the thing with okay, can we like if we had to judge whether emotional logic, like the thing with emotion is that it can actually make you look, I don't know, like foolish or like embarrass you. Like I don't know. There's something
Yeah.
about because logic.
Yeah. To me, it does. because I'm looking at you and I'm like, why are you spazzing out over this? Like,
Um, no, because I think even like I think scientists will say something like when two people are in love or like they're in their honeymoon phase, they're actually not thinking, and it's almost like they're high on drugs or like alcohol or something like that. It's not this. So like, and and imagine a situation where you come back down to reality. It's almost like, wow, that was, I don't know, like even when it comes to alcohol, whatever, like if people have a hangover, you come back down to earth and you're like, wow, that was a bad decision. That was too much. so, so I think that's the thing with with emotions. But for the people, when you're experiencing it, feels like this is so real. This is literally real. Um
I think that's
so
why
yeah.
they always say, and it's something, by the way, that I also realize is when you're experiencing an emotion, and particularly if it's a very like raw, like emotion that's brought on quickly about something, and maybe you're very angry about something, you're very sad about something, or you're just like, why is this happening? I think that's what they always say. Take some time, just work through the emotion before you actually respond to someone, or
Mhm.
before you approach someone or accuse them of something. Because once the emotion has subsided, you have the time now to think through it and be like, wait, so I'm mad that this person did this or said this. Then you're like, wait a minute, but why did they do this or say this? And then you might realize there's actually
Mhm.
a very valid reason
Yeah.
for it. And then
Yeah.
you're like, oh, okay, there's actually no point of pursuing it further because I get it.
Yeah.
Whereas you might have actually burnt that bridge because you already accused them and go straight
Yeah.
forward and you don't realize what's happening. So sometimes it's like you just need to cool down first, think through
Yeah.
it, and then go from there. Because that has definitely, I mean, happened to me. And even though as much of a logical person I am, I've definitely
Mhm.
had like maybe one or two situations where you just respond immediately, then you realize, wait, I should have just
Yeah.
like, calmed down and um, thought about it. Because when you think about it and you start to see the other possibilities, or you start to have more clarity into the situation, and it affects how you
Yeah.
actually respond to it. And
Yeah.
that's just very important. And I feel like that's why um, in the hospital, I just get irritated with these people
Mm.
because I don't think they stop to think. It's like, this is what I'm feeling right now. So I need the doctor to clarify my emotions. And I'm like, that's not my job. You can sit in your
Mm. Yeah.
emotions and your feelings, and then I will get to you
Right.
when I get to you.
Mm.
Because that's not my job, in all honesty. Um, but like, you
Mhm.
should be well assured. When I told the nurse, yeah, no, it's fine. The patient is fine. They're okay. They're not dying.
Mhm.
For those people who think they're dying,
Mhm.
I'm like, yeah, you're not dying. Your vitals are very normal.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and I think speaking of like whether it's friendships, relationships, they usually say that the test of that connection is what happens when something goes wrong or something is
mm,
not going right, because it's how does the person respond, or does the person spiral. So there's also like like for me, I call that emotional resilience as well. So like to me like, in fact, I think emotional resilience for me is like a measure of someone's true character, because it's very impressive when someone is going through something, or like, I don't know, just something, and it's just hard, and but they still have the capacity to be cordial or just patient and still
mhm,
like be like, okay, I'm going through this, but I'm not going to, I don't know, like make it everyone's problem, or there's something like that. And unfortunately, you tend to have to discover that in the journey when you're with friends, partners, and you realize, oh, this person doesn't have as much resilience as I thought, because they're just spiraling down. This one thing has happened, and then like, yeah, it's breaking them down. So um, that I think is it's a thing. It's actually a thing. So yeah.
it is. I just feel like as a logical person, it feels like the weight of the world is kind of on your shoulders. And in a sense, like not necessarily the weight of the world is on your shoulders, but like you have an understanding that this is how emotional people are. So it's like you have to be the bigger man. And it's like,
Mm.
no, they also need to learn to
They also,
also
I know.
learn how to accommodate logic and also learn how to rein in their emotions. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's I don't know, but it always seems to be a more there always seems to be a default in things. Because for example, introverts, extroverts, the world defaults to extroverts. So
Yeah.
it's like an introvert will understand, okay, this is what an extrovert's pool is, but the extrovert will not understand the introvert.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
always a bit of an imbalance. And
Yeah.
that I feel like that's how the imbalance is with the logic versus emotional, is that I feel like the logical people are misunderstood a lot more than the emotional people.
Yeah.
But I'm like, we are the ones you want to have on our side because we're the ones who are going to make the right decisions for the country, for the patients, for the this. Like we can think
Yeah.
through all the fluff and
Yeah.
everything.
Exactly.
Like you guys are
Yeah.
there in your emotions, freaking out. Like this is going
Yeah.
wrong. Oh my goodness! And then we're there, like, okay, this is going wrong. Yes, but what can we do
Yeah.
about it? What plan can we
Right.
make? We're the ones who sit down and think through those things. So like when the world is burning, we can still think.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's funny because at the same time, like the same, you're like, for example, you as a doctor, you're saving lives and you're doing things in the background. But the same, maybe it's the patient or the patient's family would then accuse you of not doing something right at the same time. So it's like, wait, so I'm saving this patient's life, but then you're also not even grateful that, like you probably experienced that as well. Because that's the thing with being logical is people are like, they don't know that the background, like, how do I say this? Like the background work that's being done because you're probably being vigilant, you understand what's really, really going on. But then the emotional people want you to be, I don't know, happy, smile, do something, like be
you're made to
engaging.
appease to your emotions, but so
Yeah.
if you feel like
Yeah.
your emotions are not met, you're like, no, 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 something is missing. No.
Mhm. Exactly. And this actually describes, I think, a traditional idea of like a man and a woman when people talk about like, I don't know, like this sense of like women are traditionally emotional and the man is the one who's grounded and stable. But as you said, it's interesting when it's the woman that has that capacity. Like we have that capacity to to do that.
Yeah.
Um yeah.
Yeah. And then
So
people look at you like, oh, I'm like, yeah, I'm not that,
yeah,
I'm not really that emotional. But anyways, I think next one of the topics we need to talk about next. I was gonna try to talk about it this time, but this is gonna be a good segue into our personalities. But this is going to be for another episode
yeah,
because this logical, emotional driven debate is interesting because, for example, I am an INTJ, and I think Chole, you were an ENTJ.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
both are very rare types. So that will explain our logicalness. And that is something that
yeah.
we will talk about on another episode because
Yes.
we've run out of time. But
Oh, sis, this is fun. It's so fun. Like it's the story of our lives.
oh,
So like
totally.
this is very real for us. Like what we are experiencing. So yeah, because I think for ENTJ, I think they say 2% of the world is female ENTJs. Most ENTJs, I think even INTJs as well, similar. Maybe yours is a little bit higher. Are men. So like carrying that kind of personality in a female body, and how do we navigate this world of ours?
That is to be determined. We will come. That will
Yes.
be in another episode because That would be like
Yeah, we can go on.
part two of this,
Yeah.
because we'll have a lot to say about that as well. But to conclude, definitely I would say there needs to be a balance of both. It's important
Yeah.
to have both. There is
Yes.
value in being emotional, there's value in being logical.
Absolutely.
There needs to be a balance. We need to work on balancing both as people, because it's important. I'm
Yeah.
not
It is.
saying that emotions are bad. They are not bad. They are perfectly and amazingly useful when used right. The same thing as
Yeah.
logic. It can also go to the extreme when it's not used correctly. So, ultimately speaking, life is just about balance, and
Yeah.
emotional, logical balance is important. And I don't think it's easy to achieve, because most of us are skewed in one direction, but it's
Yeah.
important for us to try and understand the other direction.
Yeah.
So we have come to the end of our episode today. You can listen to us on all the major podcast platforms. You can watch us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, whatever. Name all the major podcast platforms. You can email us at thefeminine.liars@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Would love to hear from you guys what you're driven by. Is it logic? Is it emotion? What are your experiences with either or or both? Uh, and how has it, affected your life? But till next time, have fun, live large, and don't be afraid to be an outlier. Have a good week.